The courtroom was colder than I remembered. The kind of cold that doesn't come from air conditioning, it comes from silence. My ex-wife was already seated. New last name, new ring, same smirk. She whispered something to the man beside her, her new husband, and he chuckled, shaking his head as if I were a bad joke someone told twice. I didn't react. I never do. The clerk called the session to order, and that's when the judge entered. He froze mid-step. His eyes caught mine and drained of color. For a moment, he wasn't a judge. He was a man who had just seen something he shouldn't have. "Dear God," he whispered, almost to himself. "Is that really him?" The room shifted. Every neck turned. Every whisper cut short. My ex-wife's smile faltered. Her husband leaned forward, confused. No one understood what the judge had seen, what he recognized. I said nothing, just adjusted my tie, and waited for the past to take its seat beside me. 6 months earlier, I was a name on her list, a stepping stone in her climb. She said she loved me. She said she believed in me, in my company, my vision, my patience. She forgot that patience is not weakness. It's time waiting for a reason. I didn't notice the affair at first. Not in the perfume that lingered on her skin, not in the late meetings or muted calls. I noticed it in her laughter. It changed. It wasn't warm anymore. It was rehearsed, directed at someone who wasn't me. She thought I was blind because I chose to be, because I didn't question her when she said, "Trust me." Trust, I learned, is the quietest form of suicide. I saw her phone once. Not open, just there, face down on the table like a body in a morgue. And I knew. I started small. Observation. Routine. The discipline that built my empire now turned toward her. Phone records, company emails, access logs she didn't think I still had control over. He was a partner, her boss's son, the one who always found a reason to help her after hours. I didn't react, not even when I saw the pictures. The two of them at a resort my company owned. She wore the same necklace I'd given her for our anniversary. I began moving funds, quietly, restructuring accounts, filing transfer documents, the kind that move power without making a sound. I met with lawyers, accountants, all under the guise of business restructuring. No one questioned me. They never do. By the time she filed for divorce, everything she thought she'd inherit had already vanished, into trusts, offshore accounts, and silent subsidiaries under names she'd never recognize. And when she walked into the courtroom that day, thinking she'd claim half of my empire, I smiled. Because technically, it wasn't mine anymore. The papers were handed over. Her lawyer's face tightened first, then hers. "This can't be right," she stammered, voice trembling under the weight of printed truth. "These holdings, these assets, he's transferred everything?" The judge scanned the documents. His expression hardened into something between disbelief and respect. My ex-wife's husband leaned closer, whispering, "What does this mean?" "It means," I said softly, "you married her for nothing." He flinched, his confidence cracking just enough for her to notice. Her hands trembled as she flipped page after page, realizing there was nothing left. No property, no shares, no accounts she could touch. All legal, all done months before she filed. The judge looked at me with that same pale recognition, and I saw it. The exact moment he realized who I was. Not the man she betrayed, but the architect of her undoing. "Mr. Hale," the judge said quietly, "I believe this case is resolved." He didn't have to say more. My ex-wife stood, desperate now. "You can't do this to me," she shouted. Tears blurred the sharp edges of her voice. "I gave you everything." I tilted my head. "No," I said, "you took everything. I just took it back." Her husband's face twisted in confusion, then shame, then anger directed at her. "Is that true?" he asked. But she didn't answer. She couldn't. He pulled away from her, murmuring curses under his breath as the courtroom whispered. And I walked past her, slow, measured, the echo of my steps slicing through her silence. At the door, I stopped, turned just enough for her to hear me. "Next time," I said, "pick a man who doesn't build empires for sport." Then I left. Outside, the world felt different, lighter, not free, just finished. The reporters called after me, their voices bouncing off the marble. I didn't answer. I got into the car, watched the courthouse shrink in the mirror, watched her standing at the steps, alone. There was no triumph in it, only clarity. Betrayal doesn't end with vengeance. It ends with indifference. And as the city blurred by, I finally understood. I hadn't come to win. I'd come to bury the version of me who ever loved her. I adjusted my cufflink, leaned back, and whispered to no one, "Case closed."